So let's get kicked off. One of our selection committee members will be down here. She got drafted into a meeting that wasn't on her schedule this morning. She'll be down here shortly, but when we get to that section of the RFQ, we'll have the selection committee introduce themselves. At partway down, we talk about the scoring and selection process. So we'll get started with this. We're just going to step through the RFQ, make sure everyone understands that wishes to submit on this, what to expect. So starting at the top, Licking County, we are one of the fastest growing. I would say we are the fastest, but someone always argues with me when I say that. So we are one of the top 3 fastest growing counties in Ohio. And we're growing by leaps and bounds. So it's kind of hard to manage actually. I guess that's a good problem to have. Next, Alex, if you want to center this one. So next, Licking County Transit is looking for a new CAD-AVL system. We have a lot of the specs down below. They're currently a on-demand system only, demand response only. They have, you can see they operate about 16 buses at a time. And in our transit development plan, which you see down below, it talked about needing new technologies, needing new CAD-AVL software and all of that. So this today is our first step to implementing that portion of our transit development plan that was adopted in 2020. In 2020, I think that covers that software. So we currently, along with the technology side of things, we have hired a consultant. They are Edge Consulting that is doing well, you can kind of read there, it's an app, a phone app that allows people to book trips and all of that and schedule. And then also they're working on the payment side of it now. Now, that doesn't mean you have to use that if you're one of the submitters, but we do want the two to be able to talk to each other. So if you're submitting a software and your software has an app, that's fine. You don't have to use this app, but we do want to make sure that everything can talk to each other. So that way, if Catholic Social Services, for instance, needs to move a trip to Licking County Transit, that they're able to transfer the trips back and forth. That's going to be pretty important in all this, is that everyone will be able to talk to each other technology-wise. Go ahead. So the selected firm, we have many different requirements, so we can step through some of these. I mean, you guys all know how to read them, sir, so I don't need to read each one of these to you one at a time. But a lot of this has to do with functionality. The current CAD-AVL software they have is very old, very out of date. It's hard to find parts and software apps for anymore. So they're going totally new, starting all over brand new from scratch. Going to keep going out some else. You can see we got quite a few of the requirements here. Just keep going down. So these are the requirements we're panning through. Go ahead and stop here. So one of the new things we're looking for in this CAD-AVL software is once it schedules the trips and all that we be able to assign drivers to those shifts. Just because currently they're doing all that through basically spreadsheets. Even if they use the current software they use, they do a lot of the scheduling, and I see Jess here from Transit. You may, if you wish to correct me, you're more than welcome to. But they schedule the drivers manually after the software runs. Is that relatively close to correct, Jess? Yeah. Okay. So we wanted to kind of automate that to relieve the pressure on the support staff that's at Transit. That's going to be pretty important. Keep going up. So then we have requested things. So stop here for a second. We're asking for like people to be able to buy a ticket without having an account. That's kind of cool and neat here. This is a request. This one's not a requirement. And be able to have like kiosk integration, third-party mobile payments on all of that. One thing I forgot to say in the requirements up top is they need to be able to bill from the software. So Licking County Transit, like all small transit agencies, have many contract trips. I'm sorry, I skipped over that one. I shouldn't have. So they want to be able to bill directly out of the software and invoice. Keep going down a little bit further. So here's the selection criteria. So over here is our 4 of the 5 members of the selection committee. So if you guys would like to all introduce yourselves.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Matt Allison, Executive Director of Licking County Transit.
Just Roches, dispatcher.
Morning. Larry Head, Deputy Director of County Transit. Emma Large, the mobility manager for Lincoln County.
And Adam Howe, server administrator for Lincoln County.
And one member missing is Commissioner Rick Black, who chose not to cancel his Hawaii vacation to participate in today's meeting, but he will also be in the selection process. I want to call to everyone's attention on the right, we talked about this scoring procedure. We will have 5 scores in total. Each one is allowed to assign up to 100 points. Notice that the understanding of scope of what we're trying to do here and the ability to meet the requirements, that's half of the total projects in those 2 bullet points. The next 2 that are the highest scoring is strength and experience of your staff, and that's not just the key staff, but also the subcontractors. And then the ability to meet the requested capabilities, those are like bonus points, 1 to 20 points, and then the project manager, which is going to be our contact person, is 10. So it would be my suggestion to you to really focus on the understanding of scope and the ability to meet the requirements. Because if you miss those 2, there's really no point, there's no chance of moving forward in the selection process. So we'll do it further. And thank you all for introducing yourself. So next is the RFQ format. We need your contact information on the front title page. And next is 5 pages to discuss the strength of your team. That's everyone, the project manager, the sub-consultants, everyone. And then next is 5 pages discussing the scope and discussing how you're going to meet the requirements. And then we have Appendix A. That's one pull down. So Appendix A is, okay, let me just go through the schedule first. So you're going to email your RFQ to me. And I always suggest to people, I don't trust email. Sorry. So I would suggest putting it on a memory stick and mailing it to me also, because I don't want me not getting an email to be the reason you can't participate in the selection process. So today is the pre-submittal meeting. This has been posted since December 1st. The question submittal deadline is January 27th. At that point, at 4 o'clock. At that point, I stop taking all questions. All questions come to me. The question response deadline will be February 1st. And everything, including the recording of this meeting today, will be put on the website. Submittal deadline is March 15th. And after that, it becomes the selection committee's responsibility. They will have the draft scores completed March 29th. If there are interviews necessary, those will be performed on April 12th. So you can mark those on your calendars now. I don't know if they're going to be morning or evening or how many firms may be interviewed. We may not need, depending upon the scores, interviews at all. And then the final rankings will be posted Friday, I think Friday, April 14th is a Friday. And then I'll be reaching out to the winning firm April 17th, which I think is a Monday, if I remember. I may not have that right, but April 17th, and ask for your formal proposal for the process. So that's that process, and we have some tentative dates. We'll go down a little further. We have some tentative dates. We would hopefully have proposal agreement, and this is totally just projection, so these dates aren't hardcore. By late June, we'll hopefully have the contract signed by both parties August 30th. Though, to be honest, contracts always take longer than I think they should, but that is at least the projected date. And then I should be sending the winning firm the notice to proceed September 4th. Pull down. So next is the Appendix A, all the federal clauses. We are using federal funds in this. LCAT has donated or given to Lincoln County Transit $300,000 in carbon reduction program funding. That's the new funding out of the bipartisan infrastructure law. Lincoln County Transit is also using 5307 funds. They have $189,000. And then we don't know how much local match will be needed because that will be determined by the proposal. And so we won't know the local match necessary, but we are fully ready to go to $500,000 on this project. And then if we need some more or less, whatever, we can figure that out later. You want to keep going out through this slowly? Just keep going out when I get to a point. There's a lot of tax stuff, just keep going. Keep going. So the federal obligations of third party there. If you're related to somebody in the room, that's fine. We're not saying you're not allowed to participate, But if you're like a PRS member or something like that, that's fine. But please tell us. We're not saying you can't participate, but you need to tell us so we can take that into account. That's pretty much what that's saying. Keep going down, get to all the tax data. Keep going, keep going. If we need a change of contract after it starts, but that's okay, keep going. Down here, some places, all the tax forms that everybody has to fill out. We are requesting a 10% disadvantaged business enterprises. Now that's a request, it's not a hardcore. If you can do more, that's great. Keep going. Keep going. Somewhere in here is all the tax forms. Keep going. There it is. So here's all the affidavits for taxes. So the company fiscal person needs to fill out all the tax stuff for the company taxes. The project manager has to fill out all the stuff for the taxes. Are they up to date on their taxes? Because to be honest, we're a government entity. If you're not paying your taxes, we're not going to take you into account. That's just the bottom line. And if you owe some money in taxes, that's okay. Tell us, because we can always have that paid out before. It's not a problem. But it's very important that you not owe the state of Ohio, Licking County, or anything like that, a bunch of property taxes. So the company, the fiscal person in the company and the project manager are all going to have to prove that they don't owe taxes to people. And with that, there is also a PERS form in here because we are PERS employees. It's further down, you'll see it. That will have that. So all this Appendix A will have to be filled out and submitted with the final RFQ. There you go, the independent contract for government for PERS. So that way, if you're related to somebody at PRS, again, we will take it. Just let us know. We're not saying they're not allowed to participate, but we need to know. So we know how to handle that. So with that, at this point, the other system working, Alex, we're open to questions because that's the RFQ. That's what we're here to learn about today. If you have any questions at this point, you may type them in or you may just ask, and that includes you too.
And would it be possible to hear who all is participating as well to get introductions from the participants?
Can you bring up because they were supposed to sign into the.
So I think some of them emailed me their contact info.
Okay.
I don't think anybody's mic'd up, but let me see.
If you're trying to ask a question, maybe let Alex know in the comment forms or something like that, because I'm not hearing much.
Yeah, there are no questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I think I have two questions.
Mhm.
The first one is, I know you're actually working on that software for you guys. Can you just better explain what you want the differences to be? Maybe it's, I don't know if it's like the service area or the modes that, or is it more of a rider facing software
So
that actually is developing for you guys?
The current app actually is developing as an open source, so
Yeah.
anybody in the county can use it. It's a white label, and it's used. We wanted it to be used like the county transit to begin with, but the current software is too far out of date, so we're not able to use it there. And as we're advertising for new CAD-AVL software. If they have their own app, we're not allowed to tell them by law, you can't use your own app. But we do want the two apps to integrate, but the intent of the edge is to, one, help people with disabilities and the utterly disabled. And it's open source, so any of the 501s in the county are allowed to use it.
Yeah.
And its target group is really the elderly disabled and people with disabilities and people trying to get to work if you're trying to.
Yeah.
One thing with that is it will be able to be used with the Licking County Transit. They're going to start this summer 2 new deviated fixed routes. In the main kind of business area of Newark, one is the downtown route and the other is the 21st Street University route. And so people will be able to use it there. But if this software has its own app, you're welcome to it. We just want the 2 apps to be able to integrate. Did I answer your question?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. And I guess like, to to better explain my thought process with that in our proposals, we do kind of all of the above. If we included our app and like, discuss integration, I'm sure at the contracting period, you guys could state whether, what was your priority, what you really liked and wanted to go with, not just whoever the winning vendor is, for example.
Yeah, and again, if you have an app that already works,
Yeah.
we're not gonna, and it works well, we're not gonna say you can't use that.
Yeah.
But we do want the two apps to be able to talk to each other in case a trip needs to be transferred.
Sure,
But-
that makes total sense. And then my next question is, during this forum, you mentioned, sub-consultant, is it a requirement to include a sub-consultant on a proposal? Okay.
No, it's if you wish, or if needed, or maybe your company does the CAD stuff, but someone else does the AVL and you partner with them, it's whatever you guys,
Sure.
whoever the contract needs.
Sounds good. Okay, sorry, last question. For the automatic vehicle location aspect, we typically use tablets or mobile devices on our vehicles for that aspect. And would that be, within the goal for that piece? Or would you want something like attached to the vehicle?
I think we're open to anything. I mean, as far as just proposing to us what the solution could be.
Yeah.
We currently use tablets and they work well, except that ours are antiquated, outdated, not performing well. But yes,
So we could include like devices in the proposal as well as an option.
absolutely.
And in that, with the software that's going to, whoever wins, it's, if you read through the RFQ, we're expecting you to supply the tablets, the hardware, if you have a separate GPS unit that plugs in, that fastens to the back of the windshield, the whole kit and caboodle. That includes like the monitors in the office.
Yeah.
So that people can see where they, and one of the things is, and Matt, I want you to talk about this, this is relatively new to me. I don't remember what you referred to it as, and we have it in the, not the requirements, but it's the
Telematics.
telematics. If you want to describe what your thought is there.
Sure. So with the system, with the telematics, ensuring that we're able to monitor the fleet, not only location of the vehicles, but also it could be the health of the vehicle. You're
Okay.
monitoring things like, is the engine performing as it should? Maybe it's things with braking, things of that nature, just to ensure that the vehicle health, that's the primary focus, to prevent unnecessary breakdowns and to improve reliability.
Yeah.
So you're always focusing on-time performance, where is the vehicle at, those things. But you also want to ensure that the vehicle health is good, because if we see there's a problem prior to that, the problem becoming something that shuts the bus down, we can work on that with maintenance out to it, swap it out, and it keeps us more reliable and less of an impact to our customers.
Got it. Thank you for that.
Sure.
And the people online are allowed to ask questions too. If you wish.
There was, somebody said they couldn't hear the questions.
It will be posted on our
That's
website
what-
afterwards.
That's what I told them, so.
This whole recording will be on the website afterwards.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we couldn't hear the questions very clearly, but would appreciate these being posted and the recording as well.
Will do. May I ask who you are?
Again, I'm having a very hard time hearing. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. By the way, my name is Astha and I represent HBSS Connect Corp. And I'm also here joined by two other team members, Ketan and Partha.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Something I would like to add for us as we think about this project as well is ensuring that the system is able to communicate, as you described it, Lexi, with Edge, with that program as well, but with CODA, with, let's say, other transit agencies that we have to work with, the contiguous counties, because we anticipate and project that we're going to do a lot of connections as the area and region grows. So we need to ensure that we have that connectivity and to be able to communicate with our systems. So very important to the overall scheme.
So everybody online understands, Licking County is, like I said, a very fast-growing county. And we partner with all of our local agencies, including those across the county lines. So, you know, of course, every transit system is different, so maybe you can't participate with all other, can't get us, but, you know, we have Knox area transit to the north, we have CODA to our west, we have Fairfield, Lancaster transit to our south. If there's a way we could work together and integrate and everybody talk to everybody, that would be really great. May not be able to do all of them, maybe or whatever, but if there's a way that we can at least import and export trips across the county line, that'd be very helpful because every day Licking County imports more total trips than we export. And we also have like 14,000 unfilled jobs in our county right now. If you look at Ohio Meets Jobs. And so trying to get people to work is really important for us.
And to add to that, with our growing western Licking County into central Licking County, we're going to have a lot of connections we build with CODA. And those connections need to happen between our clients, our customers. So very critical that those systems communicate well.
So other questions? Anybody type anything in?
Nope.
All right, we'll wait about 2 or 3 more minutes, and if no one else has questions, at that point, we'll go ahead and close down the meeting at, I guess, formally 10:30. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them or type them in, either one. Because we're here for you today. Go back up to the requirements, so page 2. So we'll go ahead and step through the requirements. Please interrupt me if you have questions as we step through things.
Yeah, I typed in a question. Can you please elaborate on this? That's from the RFP, and we may or may not be able to hear you clearly, but we'll try to make the most of what you say.
So what do you want me to elaborate on?
Here it is.
The deviated fixed, so on the RFP, it says the deviated fixed route service will be used as transition from the current demand response to full fixed route service by 2030.
Right.
Once the fixed route service begins, the demand response service will be ADA complementary paratransit service.
Yeah, so currently they are demand response only. In our transit development plan that was adopted in 2020, it said that as a stepping stone towards fixed route in the approximately year 2030, that we would use a deviated fixed route to begin with smaller vehicles too. That would also help us figure out, because we don't know where stops, we know where some stops, but we do not know where all the stops should be. So by using the deviated fixed route at first for a handful of years with the smaller buses, it will help us figure out where the stops should be when we implement in the year, roughly the year, it's not exactly, but roughly the year 2030, when we go to the full-blown fixed route service. So this is kind of the deviated fixed route is kind of a step to that process. It will also train in our transit development plan. It talks about also training the riders, because we go from demand response only to the deviated fixed route. That's one change, rather than trying to go all the way, just one big jump to fixed route. So that way it also teaches our riders the software and all that.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
I think I have one last question.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
No.
So you mentioned you guys are working with 16 vehicles right now. I believe,
A little higher than
a
that.
little higher.
Yes.
They have 40 total vehicles, so they have 16 on the road at one time.
Sure, so I'm just thinking for like device costing and the proposal, if we gave like a per unit cost per device per vehicle. I'm just thinking, are you going to be growing your vehicles, I guess? 'Cause we want to make sure to give you a
So,
more accurate
and,
estimate.
and this is purely qualifications. We're not asking for a
Oh, okay.
proposal yet.
Okay,
You're jumping ahead to the next
I
step
am,
after the
I
selected
am.
consultant. So,
okay,
yeah, just make sure everyone understands, we're asking for your qualifications to do the job first, because we are using federal funds. The proposal will come when I contact whoever the winning firm is for the software. So this is qualifications only at this point.
thank you for clarifying.
Yep.
Sorry for that.
And again, when it gets to that point, yes, that will work.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we'll shut down here a little bit. If you have any final questions? I want to thank everybody for participating both virtually and in person. Thank you. We're looking forward to this. This is going to be a huge step for Licking County Transit. I want to say thank you to you all. So last chance. Got a question?
Asta unmuted herself, so I think she might.
Yes, Azam,
Yes.
you have a question?
No, I don't. I don't. I just had typed it in, but thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you. Can't wait to see. And so that you know, I'm the one overseeing the selection process. I am not the scorer. They are the scorers. So wish everybody a good evening. Thank you for participating. Can't wait to see the qualifications. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.